Hey everyone, welcome to High School Dropout Advice. If you need subtitles, please click on the subtitle button. Usually it takes up to 2 hours after uploading for the subtitles to appear. So this will be the second part of my life and how I end up in the United States doing YouTube videos. If you did not watch the first part, you could watch the first part, which I link up here and in the description below. In the first video, I talk about how I was raised in Germany, my education, why I dropped out of high school, my business adventures, and all my failures. In this video, there will be many failures too, but failures are milestones on the road to success. You might remember that I was building my online Asian grocery store. It was in the year 2012 when I was 24. At that time, I had the art business for 3 to 4 years and the Asian online shop for close to 2 years. You remembered from part 1 that I had a change in my mindset and started to live frugally and reinvest all my profits into my business. In 2007, when I was like 18 to 19, I received my green card to live in the United States. But because of the recession, I didn't start any business in the United States. And I was freshly married and my ex-wife and me wanted to stay together, and it was only possible in Germany. Long story short, my online shop for Asian groceries grew very fast, and getting bigger was involved by attracting attention. I was using the same platform as the biggest at that time. I copied all their promotion, sold everything for a little cheaper and grew faster than them. So it was not long that I got sued. I got sued by the largest online shop for Asian groceries and from the third one as well. Honestly, I forgot for what I got sued, but it was some small issues. In all lawsuits and conflicts, I would negotiate my way out and most often build an alliance. So when I was sued by the biggest company, I was hiring an attorney from my city. We came to an agreement and we settled. So when I got sued by the third largest company, I hired the attorney from the biggest company, who was the attorney for the company who sued me. He was amazed, but he didn't see a conflict in interest because he would represent me against the third largest. Later, when the biggest company wanted to sue me again, he went to the same attorney, but this time the attorney could not represent him because I was a client of him as well. So he decided to drop the charge. This is what he told me, because we ended up that the biggest company at that time was offering me, the second biggest at that time, an amount of money I thought was fair for me for the effort I put for the last 3 to 4 years of building that business, and it was enough for me to start new. Good job! Let me tell you, that money was not the main reason for me to sell. The amount, of course, was quite fair because I think that he thought if I cannot beat him, then I will buy him. I thought that was a smart move and a smart offer of his. He was controlling over 70% of the market shares with my business, so it was a wise move and a very strategic decision. The emotional reason for me to sell was because of one experience. At that time, I would split my time living in the United States and in Germany. I had my green card and I wanted to keep it. But I noticed that every time I entered Germany, the airport officers would ask me many questions and were always doubtful with my German passport if I'm a real German. I understand that I don't look like one, but what I noticed is that it was relatively easy for me to enter the United States with just my green card. No matter who was interviewing me, all Americans of every skin color were quite welcoming. One time, an older white officer checked on me when I wanted to enter the United States. He looked at my permanent resident card and said,
"Welcome home, son."
This was the moment which made my decision. I will accept the offer of the biggest company, sell my company and move to the United States forever. I don't want to get political here, and it was just a tiny sample size. Maybe I was lucky in one country and met the wrong people in the other country. But I want to be honest to my viewers and subscribers and share the story why I decide to leave everything behind in Germany and restart building up everything again in the United States. Because before this one sentence, I was still not sure where I would end up. So I sold my 2 online companies, took all the money and came to the United States. I ended up in Las Vegas, and growing up in a restaurant, I thought buying a restaurant that had an excellent cash flow was a good idea. I thought I was successful in Germany. I value money way more now. I live frugally and work hard, and I thought I could do the same in the United States. I was so wrong. I ended up buying a sushi restaurant with teppanyaki grills. The due diligence I did was not careful enough. Even I negotiated a price I thought was good for me, it was still too good for the seller, because the numbers were too good to be true, which I had to notice later. I never held a knife and my knife skills were not present, but I had to learn how to do sushi. Not because I want to, but because I had to. The employees shortly left the restaurant because they felt I know nothing and they were worried about the restaurant business. So I was highly short-staffed and every day was a struggle. I was firing my head chef because he did not listen to me, harassed my female staff. Then I had to fire 2 other chefs when both wanted a raise and wanted to take advantage of my situation. I let both of them go because if I would let them, all other staff would come to me demanding a raise and I would not get the situation under control. So beside being the owner, me filling 3 to 4 positions a day was a regular day for me for around 6 months. You see me wearing a tie and a shirt, but I was washing the dishes. I would then run out and serve the customer because I had no reliable server, no reliable sushi chef, no dishwasher, and I also had to learn to cook because the kitchen staff was constantly changing as well. But even at those stressful and challenging times, I found enough energy to push out this smile. I guess this helped me to hang in. No matter how hard and how tough it gets, always try to think positively. At that time, it humbled me again in my ability to manage people and building a business. I remembered my multimillionaire aunt teaching me, no matter how big the tree is, when you take it out and uproot it and plant it into another location, the slightest wind blow can bring it to a fall. If I had paid more attention to her teaching, I would have understood that no matter how big and successful I get at one place, going to another place, I would start from zero. So, understanding her advice, I had to learn to do everything by myself. I learned how to do sushi. I was hiring new staff like every day. One day I was inside the sushi bar with 2 other chefs and the customer asked me how much experience I had. I was embarrassed to say 1 month, so I said, "Don't worry sir, you are in good hands." In total, we 3 have over 30 years of experience. One of the chefs had 17 years and the other one had 13 years. I was remodeling my restaurant, learned about how to fix those appliances, go home every night as a tired wreck, doing the paperwork, to wake up early in the morning to do the groceries the next day. That was the hardest and most challenging period, which lasted around 2 years, until I found the core staff I could work with and could allow myself not to work every day. Before that, I had to be there every day. It's very hard to get a full running restaurant. So I respect every restaurant owner and hospitality industry workers. It's not just that the pandemic time is hard for restaurants. It's always hard. If I could choose again, I would have never selected the restaurant industry if I knew what I was getting myself into. But surviving it made me able to bear more hardship, and it was an overall humbling experience. From someone who could not cut carrots, I was forced to learn how to make sushi, and quite efficiently. Every time I worked, my main focus and my main thoughts were how to get better, how to get faster, how to be more efficient, and how to do things differently. These were constantly my thoughts because the race was between my business is collapsing or I prove myself so my business can survive. Eventually, I could manage to get my restaurant to that point that it's running by itself now. So I got more time and I played some chess, as you see here. I also played a lot of chess in my teens and was playing for my state in Germany. But this was a long time ago. I'm nowhere so competitive as I was. In life, when one thing goes well, there will always be something that will put you down again. So I discovered that my mother had to fight cancer. And at that same time, my marriage broke because my ex-wife did not want me to visit my mother because she had a not so good relationship with her. And then I learned that divorces are expensive. But I also learned it was worth the cost. I was someone who would never give up. So giving up on my marriage was a tough pill for me to swallow on a personal level. Anyway, my private life was a disaster for another 2 years. The business was luckily surviving and running by itself, but I spent most of my time traveling the United States and taking pictures of places I wanted to go. You see that many of my thumbnails are this type of pictures, which were all shot at that 2 years. So there was not much development in my career from 27 to 30, but I think that emotionally and spiritually I grew a lot during this time. At least this is what I wish happened. Otherwise it was wasted 2-3 years. One thing I think I found out during this time is that money will not make me happy. It will be a tool and a part of the road to happiness, but once we have it, the nicest thing is to share this journey and teach people how to get there. The sharing of the experience of making money will be more fulfilling than earning money itself. I also noticed that you have to keep going because even if I would spend that little money on charity, the effect is not big enough to help enough people. My father told me when I was a teenager, if you are poor, you cannot help the poor. And when your voice is little, no one will hear you. This was his response when I asked him, why are there so many people struggling with money? So I aim to get wealthier, making smart money so when I get old, that I can build something which can benefit to society in a better way. And while I build this wealth, that I will share my journey and guide people on the path to find their own wealth and happiness.
Good job!
So this is why I'm making YouTube today and started to invest in my last 2 years. This is the main reason. If I would be just motivated by money, I would not do YouTube. YouTube cost me a lot in the 6 months where I worked every day, a full-time job, and got not a single dollar yet, but costing me a lot to pay for my video editors.
Good job!
But as I said, there is more than just money in this world, and I'm saying this as a finance channel. So I hope to lead my viewers and subscribers to a path that made them wealthy and make them share this knowledge with others, so everyone's life will be a little easier and a little wealthier at the end. Just me sharing it won't change so much. But if everyone is doing it, then we will see big changes. There's no financial education in schools, which lead us to run into the same problem for generations. Teachers and school directors are often not so smart with money. So they cannot teach the money wisdom of business people and investors. If you don't have anyone around you who are business people or investors, this is a disadvantage. But luckily we have YouTube. Nowadays there is a how-to video for everything. Getting back to the topic, so I started to invest when I was around 29. I started to invest 100,000 into real estate. I'm not saying everyone needs to start with this amount. This is the amount I started with. You can start with way less. I made a video about real estate investing with no money or little money, which I link up here and in the description below. So I started with 100,000 in 2019. I took 4 real estate mortgages to buy 4 properties. In my real estate video, I will explain to you why you should try to control the most amount of real estate value. Then I refinanced the house I lived in and bought 2 houses in cash during the lockdown. I went into contract in May or June 2020. And the other one was a smaller property I bought, and it went into contract in October 2020. So in total I bought 6 rental properties in the last 2 to 3 years. I'm in the process now to cash out, refinance the 2 properties to get all the cash out which I put in. Let me share you this little technique here since you have watched this video until here. This is the property I bought last year during the pandemic. I bought it for 185,000 in cash, even when it says 199,900. That was the listing price. You might think buying everything in cash is not smart because there's no leverage, and you are right. But let me show you what my intention was. The house is worth 285,000 now, so I made over 100,000 in profit just by buying this property less than 1 year ago. The house was sold for me for less than its value. The property was worth at that time for 240,000. So I was already getting a good deal. I planned to do a cash out refinance. Let me explain it to you how it works. When you buy a house in cash, you can go to a lender and ask them to cash out refinance. This means they will take your house title and give you a loan based on the home's value. Usually they give you 75% to 80% of your home value. Let's do the math. I paid 185,000 and the house is worth 240,000. The loan to value of 75% would be 180,000. And if I can get 80%, it would be 192,000. You remember I put 185,000 in the property, but now I can get the whole amount of money out of the property. I would end up owning a home where I put no money in. You might ask me, who is paying for the loan? I have put a tenant in the property who is paying $1,950 per month. A loan of $180,000 to $192,000 cost me around $1,000 per month. So you see that there is enough money left for property tax and all other costs. The profit is having a property for free, getting appreciation on that property, which also act as a tax shelter, and have tenants who pay for the loan amortization. Guess what I will do with the money I take out of the property? I will do the same process again. This means you can use that same amount of money and generate more and more properties. This is the beauty of real estate. But This way of investing is not made by many. Next to investing in real estate for the last 2 to 3 years, I also did invest in stocks. In 2017, I was trading crypto with moderate success, but I found out that I would have made way more if I had been a long-term investor. So I studied a lot between traders and long-term investors, and long-term investor was, for me, the better choice. Then I started stock investing. I have a good position in NIO and Tesla. I had a position in Tesla and NIO since the end of 2019. I'm also invested in luxury watches, and I also invest money in my cousin, who is investing that money into Yu-Gi-Oh cards. So all in all, I'm not someone who has invested his whole life. I did business the last 20 years. So reading financial reports and understanding the basic moves and strategy feels natural to me since I operated many kind of businesses. Someone said in the comments before that it looks like I have read Rich Dad Poor Dad, and I wish I would have read it and became an investor in my teens. It would have been a shortcut for me, and I think for many other people as well. But the ones who don't learn have to experience it. So I had to find out working for others is not suitable for me, being self-employed has no leverage, and spending more time and working harder cannot be the solution, and doing business and hiring employees was the natural response. Because I suck hard with money and the money came too easy, I blasted it all, so I had nothing to invest. So starting all over and learning to invest now and having some success with it makes me realize that investing is the most elegant way to make money without involving myself too much. I don't want you to go through all that struggle, so I try to share my experience so you can get to your aim quicker. I encountered a lot of ups and downs. My life was like the stock market with a lot of swings. But looking back, I can tell you that you will not improve and you will not learn when it does not go down. Without the failures, we would not succeed. And I'm sure that I have failed a lot of times to have an over-average comfortable life now. At times of failure, we will learn the most about ourselves and get the best out of ourselves. So being at the point where I am now, I still like to get challenged. So despite the fact that I have working investment concept in real estate, which makes me good money, I'm trying to get involved in other investment and concepts. If you follow my channel, I will keep you updated about those adventures, but make sure you will see a lot of failures as well. So please always keep going when you have failed or lost money. Never blame the stock or the property that loses you money. It was most likely everyone's own fault. No control over emotion or lack of knowledge or wrong mindset make people lose money. So once we can take the blame on ourselves, we can improve ourselves. This is what I always did when I failed, and I failed plenty of times. I'm a very stubborn person, so I had to fail more than others. But being stubborn will force me not to give up. So I would reach my aim, but it usually takes longer than when a more flexible person is doing it. I think that if we share our experience together on this channel, we can learn from each other and achieve a bigger goal. You might know that if you want to go quickly, you will go alone. But if you want to go far, you have to go in a group. We all know that it's lonely on the mountaintop. So I hope that we can achieve some success and share this knowledge with our loved ones so they get there as well. This was pretty much a summary of what led me to do YouTube and a quick overview of my background in business and investment. Thank you so much and see you hopefully in the next video. Thank you. Bye.